Corel just released a new application called Painter Lite, Corel Painter Lite. Now, I haven't got Painter 12. One thing that Painter 12 has that I really wanted was the Kaleidoscope as well as the mirror tool. And because of the Painter Lite, the new latest release, it's on PC and Mac. There is actually a kaleidoscope effect in that. So I'm just going to quickly show a few of the features of the kaleidoscope tool. Now there's the mirror painting, which is quite useful as well, but I'm just going to go to the kaleidoscope, which is there. Just select that, and then you will see apparently it's a property bar, but it could be a control bar, and you can set the various levels. There you've got the segment number, as they've called it. So actually I prefer 3 is not really much use. I wish actually it would be nice if it was a sticky sort of setting, so it didn't actually start with 3. I actually prefer 4, and I'm just going to go to 4, or even better, the maximum, which is 12. I'm just going to go quickly show 4. You also can rotate this setting. You can of course move setting. Now, I mean, it's okay moving it. Of course, you might want to set the kaleidoscope at a different position in an image, but if you want to create like patterns, which is one of the main purposes I actually bought Painter Lite for, it's quite useful to have it actually in the centre. So I'm just going to quickly select a brush tool, and I'm just going to select oil brush, colour, and I'm just going to quickly paint something so you can just see so it actually goes out. And I'm just going to, so you can actually see it's actually perfect for creating patterns. Now, actually what I've done with this tool initially is actually to use the patterns and copy them to into Photoshop, so I can actually use the pattern tools in that. Now, it would be a real nice feature for Photoshop to have a pattern kaleidoscope feature as well, but I'm not going to wait. So Corel Painter Lite is actually a perfect tool for that. Right. Now, you obviously can do it for 4, but of course any other of the tools you can use as well. And I'm just going to quickly select sponge, and you can just quickly paint outwards, and you can see at that point, as you just play it out, the actual sponge spreads out that way and that way and that way. So basically all 4 quadrants are painted in exactly the same way. Now, I've noticed a few little glitches occasionally with the distorto. That's one that actually, if you put a very large distort, actually probably for other very large brushes, it actually loses the ability to kaleidoscope, and it actually seems to generate a complete mess in places. But if you keep the brush to a reasonable size, it doesn't go wrong. So, I mean, you can use the distorto. I'm just going to quickly apply the distort out, so you can just you can create some really nice, and you obviously can distort it, turn it, twist it and turn it to create some really unusual pattern designs that way. Of course, you can do the usual selection of jitter, grain and various things like that with the painter tools. So now I'm actually going to go from 4, which I like 4. I mean, it's useful, it creates a nice sort of very good, but you can actually create quite a more dramatic tile going for 12. So I'm just going to go to 12, and you can see because it's green, I will actually change. You can actually change the colour. So I'm just going to go black, makes it more visible doing a tutorial. Right, now I'm just going to go to one of the other brushes, and I'm just going to apply that out. So now you can actually see quite a dramatic spread of colour there. So it just darkens it. So I'm just going to oil brush again. Spreads out, and again it's perfect for creating patterns. There you've got, I mean, that is actually, let's say you can just basically say at this point just save the file, and so obviously copy it into Photoshop, and then you can use the define pattern to create patterns. Really quite easy thing. Now, of course, you can do more than just spread it out like that. You can actually now, of course, go around it in a circular design as well. And of course, go in as well as out, so you can just use spread design. Of course, one thing I notice, I always seem to end up not starting actually in the centre, so you end up creating a sort of black or obviously depending on the background colour in the centre. So I'm just going to spread out from there. So you can actually create immensely complicated just by overlaying. Of course, you can use layers and all that sort of thing, but you can just spread that out. So just slowly copy it out. I'm just going to go and select another colour. Just continue with that theme of just spreading out that design. And you can create the most wonderful kaleidoscope designs fairly quickly. So obviously with that you can use all the usual selection of tools. There's a whole selection of, I'm just going to select another one, chalk, soft pastel, just apply that. I've a tendency always to spread it outwards, but as I say, you can actually go inwards as well, so you can far more control. Of course, you don't have to continue with the 12 setting at this point. You can actually go back to the kaleidoscope and you can then go, say, 4 again. So you can go back to 4, change the colour, select the paint tool, and then just create designs. I always find actually white is quite effective once you've created that. So, and then of course you don't even have to do it as a continuous stroke. You can actually just have fragments. So you just sort of do dabs with the brush strokes, and again they're all repeated. So that dab there is, you can just quickly, you can actually see it repeated at this position. So it's a really good way of creating fairly complicated pattern designs in, well, relatively quick time. And just going to, again, that distort, so you can actually distort. Now, as I said, you can actually increase the size, and it actually goes a bit haywire when it's too big. And I don't think the distortion matches exactly the edges of the pattern. But again, you can create some very interesting different thing. One thing, unfortunately, with Painter Lite is that there's a limit on the number of tools. It's a reasonable selection, but not like the full range of painting. It would have been really good if nozzles, image hose was actually included. Then it would have, and also obviously a range of image hose nozzles that you could include, but you can't have everything. But Painter Lite, a really nice little application, and certainly for this one feature, it is brilliant for me. So excellent.